We have loved living half an hour outside of Paris, and it's quickly become one of our favorite cities on the planet. That doesn't mean everything about it is awesome. It's a big city, and like any big city, it's got issues. Heck, we've got issues. Anyway, there's a lot to love, a few things to hate, so let's talk about it. I like to finish with the positives, so here we go. Things we hate about Paris. This stereotype is unfortunately true. The French don't like picking up their poop. I'm talking about dog poop here mostly, although there is a guy in our town who poops in the woods. We've never seen it, but our dog sitter was watching a Pomeranian once who ate said poop and became high because apparently the man also likes to do that. So this isn't my story. Anyway, they don't pick up their dog poop, and that sucks. This is a big city problem, but Paris is the big city we live near, so that's what you're getting. The most common ones? The friendship bracelet guys near Sacre Coeur, who grab your wrist and start tying before you can say no merci. And the petition clipboard people who pretend to be deaf but are actually pickpocketing you while you sign, or getting you to agree to give them money with that signature. They're not dangerous, just annoying. Keep walking, avoid eye contact, saying nope firmly if needed, you'll figure it out. This is naturally a lot worse at the big attractions. Yeah, you can skip the Louvre, but do you want to if it's your first visit to Paris? What if it's years before you return? What if you never come back? It's one of the most visited museums in the world for a reason. You want to see the friggin' Eiffel Tower too, right? I don't care how jaded you are. She's pretty amazing up close that first time. The Arc de Triomphe meets expectations too. You should see these things at least once in your life. They are all iconic. Unfortunately, even some of the lesser known neighborhoods are suffering from the Instagram effect. Or maybe they were popularized on a certain Netflix show about a Midwestern girl who moves to Paris and meets a dozen new boyfriends. You see a pretty clip of a pretty street on social media, or maybe you see a pretty spot depicted on that show you claim to hate watch but secretly love, and all of a sudden, everyone's on that pretty street, that pretty spot. Crowds are normal when you're visiting one of the most touristed cities in the world. It doesn't make them fun, but it is what it is. Paris is one of the most visited cities on the planet, and anywhere that's true, someone is waiting to take your money for something deeply mediocre. 18-euro crepes, shops with 17 sizes of the same tiny metal tower, restaurants with laminated menus in 6 languages. Never assume that the restaurant directly next to the monument must be good because of the location, by the way. It usually is not. You also don't need to wait 45 minutes in line for the viral new thing everyone on TikTok told you about, because there are 10 equally good places within walking distance. Don't spend your trip standing in queues for internet clout snacks, please. The trick is really just to walk. 2 streets from any major landmark and prices drop and quality goes up almost immediately. It's honestly not that hard. And if you really need the cheap trinkets, we're not here to yuck your yum. France has a very healthy relationship with not working, and I say that with love, but it will get you. Museums go on strike. The Pantheon closed on me twice when I tried to bring friends there. Twice! Individual galleries will just be shut down with no warning. And beyond strikes, places close on Mondays or Tuesdays or the entire month of August. Sometimes places close for months or more for renovations, or modernization efforts like at the catacombs, or for the removal of asbestos. More than using Google to plan, have a backup plan because Paris will not be apologizing for the inconvenience. And these places don't always update their plans online. In fact, I've found that they rarely do. Maybe because the person that would usually do that is on vacation or something. I'm assuming. It's not all criticisms. I said I wanted to end on a happier note, so let's go. Here's what we absolutely love about Paris. This often comes up as a criticism by Americans used to servers checking in on them every 5 minutes, but we love being left alone by the wait staff. In Paris, and really anywhere in France, you make a reservation at a French restaurant for lunch or dinner, and that table is yours until you feel like leaving. You're here to savor the moment. If you want something faster, there's always tacos. There's no judgment there, by the way. French food is awesome, but sometimes I don't need a kilo of butter with my meal. Paris has an incredible international food scene, largely thanks to its immigrant populations. The 13th arrondissement has one of the best Chinatowns in Europe. The Lebanese food near the Marais is incredible. There are Vietnamese spots run by the same family for 3 generations. We've eaten authentic Thai, Moroccan, Korean, and on and on and on. Every craving has an answer. And honestly, that's often why we find ourselves making the trip to the city in the first place. We want something different, and Paris always delivers. For a dense urban city, Paris is remarkably green. The Tuileries and Luxembourg Gardens are stunning, but there are little squares and pocket gardens tucked into almost every arrondissement. What I love most is that Parisians actually use these spaces. They're picnicking, reading, crocheting, playing pétanque. It's not just a backdrop. There's a real outdoor social life here, and it's one of our favorite things about the city. It's not limited to the major parks either. Even in quieter neighborhoods, you'll find benches filled the second the weather turns decent. Little kids playing in tucked away playgrounds and groups of friends gathering with a bottle of wine and cheese. People genuinely treat public spaces as an extension of their home. I think that's part of what gives Paris its energy. The city doesn't feel shut indoors the way a lot of major cities do, especially in the United States. Even on an ordinary weekday, there's this constant sense of life happening around you. And as a visitor, it kind of encourages you to slow down too. It's pretty beautiful. We grew up in the US where a building from the 1800s is considered super old. Paris will completely rewire your sense of time. Places like the Sainte-Chapelle were built in the 1240s, and you can just go inside on a random Tuesday, when it's open, of course. Even the buildings people casually live and work in are older than entire towns back home. You'll walk past carved stone facades and centuries-old churches, and then remember people have been moving through these same spaces for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's hard not to feel humbled by it. What I find myself doing is looking up more than I ever did before. The architecture tells a story on every block. You don't need a history degree to feel the weight of it either. Brian's favorite thing is to walk somewhere rather than take the metro, as he loves those steps. Since treats tend to happen along the way, I usually comply. You just never know what you'll pass, like a market that wasn't on any list, a hidden courtyard, a bakery or 12. Each arrondissement has its own personality and its own vibe. Even with your phone out and a very clear plan, you are still going to stumble onto things. The city kind of forces it. And when your feet give out, the metro, RER, and buses will get you anywhere you need to go. Coming from a place where you need a car for everything, that freedom never gets old. Paris isn't a perfect city. It's crowded, occasionally smelly underfoot, and it will absolutely close the one thing you really wanted to see that day. But it is also one of the most alive, delicious, endlessly interesting places we have ever spent time in, and we feel genuinely lucky that it's basically in our backyard. If you've been, you know. If you haven't, go. Just watch where you step.